Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another straight up solo, and in this episode I'm going to be showing you how the solo game works for Cosmic Colonies. So without any further delay, let's take a look and see if that is a game you would like to buy just for the solo. So giving you a little overview here, I have played through the first 7 turns of the game. Now I'm on, 6 turns of the game. I'm on round 7, and this is the board for the solo player at this point. He's actually not doing so good this time. Had a rough run of luck in the beginning of the game trying to draw resources when his warehouse was all full, so he can only hold a maximum of 9 resources. The way the game works is you are going to have a hand of 4 cards. You're going to play a card. You're going to flip over a card for the AI, and then he is going to take an action, or you're going to take an action based on who has the lowest number first, and then the other player goes. There is a pool of resources here that can be claimed depending on how you, whether you do that or buildings that can be built. And the basic scoring of the game is that you are building buildings out here not first and foremost, but to gain points by having a secret goal, which isn't secret in the AI for the solo. You get 2 points for this type of building, 1 point in that's my goal. Or to cover up these 3 types of terrain tiles. If you cover them up, at the end of the game you have fewer than such and such showing, you'll get this many points. Also, if you have one of each building, you can get 15 points. The way that the AI scores is that they are going to basically get this amount of points per building they have built, and lose points if they have not built a certain type of building. And that is basically the way it works. So it's really pretty simple to execute, and let me just show you a couple of these things, as we go forward here. All right, so on my turn, I'm going to play this cadet card because I want to make sure I can build the one building that I do not have yet out on this board, which is this one. And in order to build that, I need 2 of one type and 1 of another. Now, I want to build that first because it's possible that this round the AI opponent might build it before me. So I play my card. I flip over his card. I had the 1, so I get to build first. This tells you what the AI will do on their turn, and this refers to what I'm going to do. So here, if I wanted to collect resources, I could collect a maximum of 2 from one spot, but I'm not interested in doing that. I'm going to build. So I'm going to spend 2 of these blue and 1 green to take this building. And I've been focusing my strategy on trying to cover up these tiles right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cover those up. As you can see, that takes 3 off the board and gets me pretty close to covering them all up, and now I'm starting to score on this track. So I'm done. I take my card, I put it in the AI's future deck, which is kind of the discard pile, and then he is going to do this first. If that fails, then this. Well, he has room, and he can take these 3 resources, and there it goes. So he's going to go ahead and take that, and he took that, and he's going to discard this. Now we're going to take another turn, and in this turn, I happen to have just the amount of resources I need to build this building. So again, I want to try to build first. So I'm going to take this architect card here, and each card has some kind of special ability, with the exception of the cadet, because he goes first. But I'm going to do this, and this is, you may place the tile diagonally adjacent to another tile. So that might come in handy. He's going to draw this card over here. He got a 9, I got a 3. So I go first, and I'm going to take these 3 resources, discard them, build my building. And now with that diagonal move, is there anything I could do to help myself out a little better? I don't think so. I'm just going to go ahead and put this tile right here, again trying to cover up as much of those purplish tiles that I can. So I put that into his discard. He is going to build one of these square buildings if he can afford it. He cannot afford it, so then he is going to take 2 of these and 1 of these, and that is the end of that round. So what happens at the end of the round is the 2 cards that he played go into my hand. All right, we advance the round marker to the last turn. We fill up 1 per player. In this case, it's 2 because there's an AI and myself into this spot. Oops. All right. right? And this cannot hold more than 5, so these are maxed out. Can hold up to 5. And then we go ahead and we refill the buildings that are out there. Pretty simple, okay? And then we'll take one more turn and then we'd score it. But I think that gives you an idea pretty easily about what is going to happen. And these cards have all sorts of different little abilities, sometimes before the action, sometimes during the action. Sometimes you can use things as wild, and so they're kind of cool. The game itself gives you 3 decks. A deck for when you're playing the AI, a deck for when you're playing the basic game, and a more advanced deck that gives you some choices whether you play it on your, or different abilities, whether you play it on your first move in a turn or your second move in a turn. All right, and so that kind of gives you an overview of what this game looks like. So let me go tell you what I think about it from a solo-only perspective. So again, if you haven't liked and subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. It really helps me out, and I appreciate it. All right, so Cosmic Colonies. It's a puzzly game. I like that. I like the fact that it's quick. A full 2-player, or a full, solo player game could really be set up, played, and finished in under a half hour. Maybe 20, 25 minutes tops with the setup. So that's a big plus. It does not overstay its welcome. It's a simple game, and it's got a little puzzly aspect. That's the pluses. Also, the AI is very easy to run. As you saw, you're basically just drawing a card, figuring out if it's going faster or slower, or first or second to you, and then it provides some blocking and a decent competition. In the game that I played just now, it got off to a very rough start. But because I had set the points to 8 per building, it still ended up building 40 points worth of buildings. Then it lost 5 points. Its end score was 35. Mine was 38, and that's a decent score, I guess. For me, I feel like I got lucky on that one. So the AI can put up a challenge, but it's also somewhat random. If it just gets the right couple of cards and doesn't have a lot of failed actions, it's going to score higher, and maybe substantially so, depending on what you set the difficulty level for. So that being said, it's not the most competent AI. It provides you, I'd say, competition while you're doing your own puzzly thing. All right, but for the most part, I feel like it's a little bit more of a beat your own score, even though there's a condition. I get it, but because it can be very swingy and random, I still kind of feel like I am trying to maximize my own score a little bit more from a standpoint of what am I doing in this game. So it's okay. I'd say that if you're going to buy a game for solo only, this one's not too bad. I did play it once with the basic condition with 2 players, and I found that went a little slower, and slow to this game is not a friend. You want it to be quick. So if you like puzzly games and you like this kind of idea where you're choosing between a couple of cards and have some decisions to make based on the interaction, then this is a decent game. It is not going to blow anybody away. It's light. There's not a ton of strategy. I'm sorry, there's not a ton of strategic depth. You have to have strategy. You have to use, tactics to win. But there's not a ton of strategic depth. You're going to sit down. You're going to try to do very similar things every time. You're going to pick probably one of those resources to cover up on the board, and then you're going to try to maximize your goal. That's pretty much the way it's going to work. All right, yeah, that's cool to get some of those interactions between cards, but you don't see a lot of that in the solo, really. That's a mind game that you get out of the multiplayer, does not really exist here in the solo. So I'd say that it's kind of 50-50 on negatives and positives for me. Will it stay in my collection long term? Probably not. I'll probably play it a couple more times and then ship it out. However, it does provide a quick 20-minute experience if you're not looking for a brain burner and you want to do something fast, and it fits that bill. So based on that, that's my feedback. This was an episode of Straight Up Solo with John LaRuffa, and Cosmic Colonies is what we were talking about. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.